does prison work? Ask any Conservative Home Secretary in the past that question and you'd pretty much get an unequivocal yes. But Ken Clarke, the Justice Secretary with responsibility for jails in England and Wales, is now giving a much more nuanced answer. He wants to bring the prison population down by giving more community sentences. On Tuesday, he'll give details of his plans, as Max Cotton reports.
Wandsworth Prison in southwest London. It was built in 1851 and used as a place of execution until the 1960s. This week, ministers will outline their plans for changes in sentencing. It will be the opening of a debate about what we expect to get out of sending people to prison. Wandsworth is the largest prison in Western Europe. At any one time, 1,650 men can be incarcerated here. And I guess when we think about sending someone to prison, this is pretty much what we have in mind. Now, hundreds of the men who are currently locked up here are serving short-term sentences. That's less than a year. And this week, the government are going to try and get to grips with the fact that 70% of those men are likely to re-offend within a year of their release. The government's Green Paper will be published on Tuesday. It will aim to reduce the number of people in prison, to put renewed emphasis on rehabilitation, try and deal with re-offending, and it will suggest ways of making community sentences more effective. But David Cameron and the Conservatives fought this year's election campaign along very different lines.
We need to build more prisons. We need to make sure that prisoners earn their release through good behaviour, hard work and making reparations to their victim.
I think that if you go around carrying a knife, you should be sent to prison.
When someone smashes up the bus stop, when someone repeatedly breaks the law, when someone's found fighting on a Friday or Saturday night, as a magistrate, you've got to have that power for a short prison sentence when you've tried all the other remedies.
Since joining the coalition, times have changed. There have been big cuts in the Ministry of Justice's budget, and Kenneth Clarke is in charge of prisons and is widely seen as a man with more liberal views.
Just banging up more and more people for longer without actively seeking to change them is, in my opinion, what you would expect of Victorian England. And it's time we focused on what's right for today's communities.
There is a traditional Tory view that prison, whatever its shortcomings, cuts crime. That view is closely associated with Michael Howard, who, as Home Secretary, told us, famously, that prison works.
You can trace the increase in the number of people sent to prison since 1993, when I became Home Secretary, and the fall in crime, which exactly mirrored that increase in the prison population. And it's common sense, as I say. If these serious and persistent offenders are in prison, they are simply not at liberty to offend against the public. That's what I meant when I said prison works, and yes, certainly, I still believe it to be true.
This is the Kawasaki. Yep, this is the Kawasaki workshop, where prisoners can join the course to learn tangible and accredited skills. But of course, there's all the other skills.
Not just about bikes.
Not just about bikes, it's about communication skills, it's the self-esteem.
Wandsworth is pretty unique. Unlike other London prisons, it has comprehensive training facilities, like this motorcycle workshop. Dave Taylor, the governor, puts huge emphasis on rehabilitation, which is what sources in government tell me they need if the prison population is ever going to fall. Messrs Cameron and Clarke want what they call a rehabilitation revolution. But for a governor trying to deliver that, short sentences don't cut the mustard.
From a governor's point of view, a short-term sentence can be difficult in trying to get to deal with the real needs of the individual to help address offending behaviour, support rehabilitation in the community and reduce reoffending. The shorter the sentence, the more difficult that can be.
Radio. To apply for the BRICS course, fill in an activities application form.
This is Jude. He has a year still to serve of his sentence and works on Wandsworth Prison's own radio station. Surprisingly, Jude thinks that short sentences could work if they were much less comfortable for prisoners.
Hey, hello.
Nice to see you.
Hello.
I'm well.
Fine.
You'd like it to be tougher, though, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Because
Why?
Because I think if you come to prison meant to be a prison. Maybe call me old-fashioned, where you come to prison and you meant to, as a punishment, this is what it's meant to be. Everyone should go to work. Everyone should get out of their beds. Strict thing. You march about and you do the right things. That is where I think they should be heading. For short-term sentences, people should be in a routine, sick routine, and do it.
No telly.
No telly.
It depends slightly on which figures you use, but only about 1% of crimes committed in England and Wales result in someone going to prison. Just 1%. Last year, 3,500 people were convicted of an offence but didn't get sent to prison, despite the fact they had 50 or more previous convictions. These are all arguments that make it harder for the government to convince us that fewer people should be going to jail.
I think on sentencing, in terms of sending people to prison, I think it's going in the wrong direction. I think not only is it going in the wrong direction from what works and what doesn't work, I think it's going in a completely opposite direction to where public opinion is. I think the public's view is that not enough people go to prison, rather than the fact that Ken Clarke seems to believe that too many people are going to prison.
I've been told that the government's emphasis next week will be on ideas, like privatising the probation service and on new ways of dealing with addicts and the mentally ill. They want the prison population to fall, but is that an ideological decision or one based on cold, hard cash?